The King Kids and the Disappearing Daffodils, Book 2 in the King Kids series, written by Sheree Elaine and read for you by Cindy Gunderson. Copyright 2023, Sheree Elaine. My name is Afton King. I love my name because it came from my great-grandmother on my dad's side. Do you know what else I love? Flowers. Flowers and plants of all kinds. I'm going to be a botanist someday and own my own greenhouse, with a special laboratory in the back for research. I have 2 brothers and a sister. Tyson is my twin, born just a few minutes before me. We are almost 7. He loves to joke and make people laugh. He wants to be a ninja when he grows up, but I think he should go for stand-up comedy. John is my older brother. He likes math, science, and experiments. He helps me with my botany research occasionally. Olivia is the baby, and at 1 year old, she's as cute as they come, but also a walking tornado. Mom and Dad are photographers. Mom does families and community events while Dad focuses mostly on nature. Dad's also an engineer, but he says that's just his day job, whatever that means. I would say we are your typical family. Loud, fun, busy, and sometimes a little crazy. We may not be royalty, but to us, family is most important. That's why John, Tyson, Olivia, and I will forever cherish and claim the title of the King Kids. Chapter 1. A slight breeze ruffles my hair as I open the front door and walk down the front steps of our house. Spring is my favorite time of year, not only because it's my birthday season, but because it's when all the flowers are in bloom. I breathe in deeply and zip up the front of my jacket. The door slams shut a moment later as my brothers come out to wait with me. They race to see who can sit on the wooden bench first. John wins. His 9-year-old legs are a bit longer than my twin brother Tyson's 6-year-old legs. We are waiting for my friend Annie's mom to come pick us up for school. It's her turn to drive. Annie and I have been friends since preschool. We bonded over our names both starting with the letter A. I don't see their car yet, so I take the chance to walk down the steps and see my flowers along the front of the house. Daffodils, dewflowers, lilies, mother-of-pearl poppies, and a variety of other perennials that Mom and I planted last fall. There are a few strategically placed bushes as well. I'm already looking forward to watering them when I come home from school. When John was creating his Science Expo project, Robo-Wren, a robot that helps out around the house, he programmed him to water my flowers for me. This is great for the days I have dance practice or a lot of homework, but most of the time, I like doing it myself. My mom was the official photographer for the Redbridge Flower Festival last year, and I fell in love with everything to do with plants and flowers. I asked so many questions that Mom took me to the library the very next day to check out as many books about flowers and plants as I wanted. Sometimes I don't know all the words in the books, but John programmed Robo-Wren with a dictionary, so he can help me with pronunciations and definitions. It's from those many library books that I learned the word botanist. There are people that grow up, go to school for things like botany, plant science, or plant biology, and then work full-time studying plants. I am going to be a botanist. I've already drawn my design for my future greenhouse, complete with an office and research lab. I may even let John use the lab for his experiments when I'm not using it. I'm admiring my flowers and dreaming about my greenhouse when a small honk interrupts my thoughts. I turn and see Annie's mom waving me over. I must have been really deep into my daydreaming because the boys are already in the car and buckled. I climb in as quickly as I can, pulling my seatbelt across my chest and pressing it into the buckle with a satisfying click. "Happy birthday, Afton!" Annie says. "Thanks, but our birthday isn't until tomorrow." I smile and glance over at my twin. Tyson said, "Tomorrow," at the same time as me. He is very excited for our birthday. I know, but I just wanted to be the first one to say it, Annie replies. I lean over and give her a side hug. We are lucky that our birthday falls on a Saturday this year. I can't wait for the bounce house and cupcakes tomorrow, Annie says. Me either, says Tyson loudly. I laugh and add, it'll be a blast. I'm glad you can come. John and I sit and watch out the window contentedly as Annie and Tyson talk about the details of the party. By the time we arrive at school, we all are a little more excited and looking forward to the birthday weekend. Chapter 2. After school, I wait outside the building with my brothers and Annie. It's Mom's turn to pick us up. She finally pulls up and greets us with a cheerful, "Happy weekend!" She has a strange smile and looks a little frazzled. It must be because of the school pickup line. It can be pretty brutal. Hey, Mom, can Annie play at our house for a little bit since it's not a school night? I ask, while buckling into the back seat. That's fine with me, but I'll need to check with her mom, she calls, using the Bluetooth feature in the car. Annie's mom says that it's okay and she'll come pick her up before their dinner time. Annie and I cheer, looking forward to playing together. Mom parks in the driveway, which is unusual. But I'm too eager to get to my after-school snack to think much of it. The boys jump out first, no doubt hungry since it's been a few hours since lunch. Come on, Annie. If we hurry, we can get the last 2 string cheeses, I say as I get out of the car. Luck was on our side. John opted for apples dipped in peanut butter. Tyson decided on pretzels. After we finish our snack, I invite Annie to come water my flowers with me. It's nice having an extra set of hands to drag the heavy hose around from the side of the house. We start at the far corner and work along towards the middle of the house. I love showing off the different kinds of flowers, and Annie has great questions. Do they all bloom at the same time? Why did you skip watering those ones? Are any of these vegetables? Will these bushes get flowers on them? How did daisies get their name? I take a deep breath and start answering. The flowers all bloom at different times, and some lose their flowers sooner than others. Those are kangaroo paws, and they don't require much water. I'd hate to overwater them, so I only water them every few days. No vegetables in the front of the house. There's a small garden box out back. We will plant tomatoes, zucchini, and carrots there in a few weeks. We set it up with a drip line that turns on automatically so we won't need to water those by hand like those flowers. Most of the bushes are just green, but that one over there is a hibiscus, and it gets pink flowers on it in the fall. I'm about to answer her question about daisies when I look ahead and gasp. What happened to my daffodils? My neatly planted, perfectly weeded, gorgeous yellow flowers are gone. I hand the hose to Annie so I can move to get a better look. As I look closer, I notice a series of deep footprints in the dirt. My heart sinks. Who did this? Chapter 3. I take some deep breaths as I finish watering the rest of the plants and flowers. My mind is spinning. As soon as I'm done, Annie helps me put the hose away and I rush inside to find Mom. Annie is right on my heels. I find Mom singing in the kitchen. The music is turned up. She's dancing around with a giggling baby Olivia on her hip. Mom throws in some extra twists and turns just to make her laugh. The boys are dancing too. John and Robo Wren are doing a matching robot dance, and Tyson is doing a combination of ninja and disco moves. Annie jumps right in with her hands in the air, belting out the words to the song. I put my hands over my ears and try to get Mom's attention. It takes a minute, but eventually she sees me, hands Olivia over to John, and beckons for me to follow her into the office. I guess she wants to leave the music on so the boys and Annie can keep dancing. Mom holds the office door open and then closes it behind me. When she turns to look at me, she sees the tears in my eyes. She steps toward me and wraps me in a hug. She holds me tightly for a few moments and then holds me at arm's length to look in my eyes. Afton, what's wrong, sweetie? It's my daffodils. They're gone. All of them. I say croakily, emotion thick in my throat. Mom wraps her arms around me again and squeezes tight. I'm so sorry, dear. You've taken such good care of them. I pull back and wipe the one tear that escaped and is running down my cheek. I really have. I care about all my plants and flowers. There were footprints where the flowers used to be, and I just don't understand why anyone would do this. Mom's eyes are full of sympathy. I'll tell you what. Next year, we will replant them, and if you'd like, we can even add a garden box up on the porch, so you can plant some there as well. I can tell she's trying hard to help me feel better, and it does sound nice, so I mumble, Thanks, Mom. I should get back out and play with Annie while she's here. Mom must have the same idea because she says, Let's get back out to the dance floor. I need to go start on dinner, and Annie's mom is going to be here soon to pick her up. Are you going to be all right? She asks, rubbing my arm. Yes, just give me another minute. I'm worried my eyes and face are red from being upset. Take as long as you need, Mom says. She leaves and closes the door behind her. Chapter 4. I walk out to the living room, which is right next to the kitchen, divided by a half wall. The music is still playing loudly, but the dancing has stopped. Mom's holding Olivia again, while also stirring something in a big pot on the stove. Annie and Tyson have set up a card game, dealt for 3. Want to come play a few rounds before Annie's mom comes? Tyson asks. It sounds like a nice distraction, so I say, Yes, but maybe we can turn the music down? I say loudly towards the kitchen with a cringe. Mom appears not to hear me. Why don't we play up in my room? I say. That will be quieter, and if Mom puts Olivia down, she won't get into the cards. Good idea, Annie says, as Tyson scoops up all the cards. Once settled on the floor in my room, we play a few rounds. Tyson wins 2 of the rounds, and Annie and I both win 1. I win! Best out of 5! Tyson says, right before Mom calls up the stairs to let us know that Annie's mom is here to pick her up. The 3 of us walk towards the stairs, waving at John, who is in his room playing chess against himself. He's practicing so that one day maybe he can win against Dad. As we come down the stairs, we see the moms chatting. Annie puts on her shoes and says, See you tomorrow, and happy birthday again. Me and Tyson laugh and both say, Not until tomorrow. Annie laughs too and holds her mom's hand as they leave. Mom closes the door behind them and turns back to us, claps her hands together in front of her and says, Okay, time for dinner. Afton, it's your day to set the table. John comes running down the stairs so fast he almost trips. Did I hear the word dinner? He asks with a giant grin. That makes Mom laugh. Yes. Come put the muffins in a bowl, and Tyson, you can get the butter out of the fridge. Strangely, the music is still playing. Dad walks in the front door just as I finish setting the table. Dad! I squeal and throw my arms around him, temporarily forgetting about my missing flowers. I love when Dad comes home. He always smells a little sweaty from riding in the hot car, but it's a familiar smell, and I don't mind. Afton, boys, how was school? He scoops up Olivia and tickles her neck to make her laugh, while the rest of us all start telling him about our day at the same time. Okay. How about we sit down to eat and take turns? He says with a laugh. These muffins aren't going to eat themselves. While we eat, Robo-Wren enters the kitchen and stays right next to Olivia's high chair, cleaning up muffin crumbs as they fall. John is talking to Mom about the latest experiment in science class. Tyson is testing out some jokes on Dad, who is the only one that hasn't heard them yet. He makes a good audience and laughs at all of them. He laughed extra hard when Tyson asked, Did you hear about the cop that fell and broke his radio? He couldn't get back up. His laugh even had a little squeak to it, which made Mom join in the laughter too. I sit and eat, not really feeling much like talking. I do notice that Mom and Dad are talking and laughing a little louder than normal. I wonder if Mom is starting to be hard of hearing. Chapter 5. After dinner, it's homework time. I decide to do it in my room because Mom is making cupcakes for the party tomorrow and has the music playing loudly again. As I'm heading out of the kitchen, she stops me and asks, "Hey, Afton, Tyson wants his cupcakes to be frosted white with green sprinkles. What would you like?" She points towards the container of food coloring and sprinkles. I'm glad Mom holds on to the leftovers from all the birthdays. It makes for lots of options. I see some leftover star-shaped sprinkles from John's space-themed party a few years back and think they'd pair well with the pink sprinkles. White frosting with these star sprinkles. And can we mix some pink sprinkles into it as well? Absolutely, almost birthday girl, Mom responds enthusiastically. I'm starting to feel a bit giddy about my birthday. It's so close. Just one more sleep. I'm sitting on my bed working on my math paper when Dad comes and sits by me. He asks, "Hey, Afton, how's the homework going? Need any help?" "No, I'm almost done. The math isn't too hard. I just didn't get it all done during class time, so it came home as homework," I answer, not looking up. "I see," Dad says. I finally look up at him when he is silent for a while. He is looking right at me and says, "I noticed you were quiet at dinner today and didn't laugh at any of Tyson's jokes, even the really funny ones. Are you doing okay?" he asks, a small crinkle between his eyebrows and a slight frown on his face. "Did Mom tell you about the daffodils?" I ask. "She did, but why don't you tell me again?" I explain what I discovered after school. I end by saying, "I just don't know why someone would do this. Those flowers are like my friends. I try to take such good care of them." "I'm sorry, sweetie. Sometimes things don't make sense at the time, but will make sense later." I look at him with one eyebrow raised. "Anyway," he says quickly, "would me reading some of the book you checked out from the library make you feel better?" "Yes." Dad sure knows how to cheer me up. I returned the one about the pattern method of plant identification, but this new one about fruit trees looks fascinating. Let me finish this one addition problem and then I'll go get it from the living room. "No rush," Dad says, sliding down to the floor, extending his legs out and lacing his fingers behind his head. "I'm perfectly comfortable right here." I smile and turn back to my homework. Chapter 6. I finish the last math problem and rush down the stairs. Where is that book? I thought I left it on the coffee table. Oh, there it is. It must have fallen off. I pick it up and groan. This is just not my day. The corner of the book is chewed on. John and Robo-Ren walk into the living room and Robo-Ren's robotic voice asks, "Would you like me to read you that book?" "No thanks. Dad's going to read it to me." "Okay. I like your shoes," Robo-Ren says with a turn of his head. Thanks," I say with a concerned look at John. I'm only wearing socks. We'll have to tweak his programming and teach him the difference between socks and shoes, John says with a light in his eye. He always lights up when he's thinking of ways to improve Robo-Ren. Look at my book, John. It's a library book, and this corner is completely chewed up. Oh, man. Olivia did that to one of her board books the other day. She must be teething again. Maybe, I shrug. I'll be more careful and put my books up high. I leave him and Robo-Ren and head upstairs. Dad's still waiting stretched out on the floor, but he's resting his eyes and jumps a little when I sit down next to him. Just closing my eyes for a second. Where should we start? Dad says, blinking a few times and stifling a yawn. Chapter 1. About pruning and spraying fruit trees. Right. Maybe we will have to plant some of those in the spring. The back right corner might be a nice spot for that, and we can always use more shade in the summer. He turns to the book and begins to read. I'm glad he's reading because words like efflorescence and angiospermous are a little beyond my second grade vocabulary. A few pages into the book, Mom pokes her head into the door and says, Hey, honey, I need to go out into the garage really quick. Do you mind starting on the bedtime routine? She steps into the room and sets baby Olivia down. She immediately runs to Dad's lap. Dad closes the book and stretches. No problem. Turning to me, he says, You heard the lady. Go tell your brothers it's time to get pajamas on and brush teeth while I get baby Olivia into her jammies." "What is Mom doing in the garage?" I start to ask, but Dad just claps his hands together and looks at me sharply, saying, "Pajamas, brush teeth." Chapter 7. I'm laying quietly, waiting for Mom to come tuck me in. Dad put baby Olivia to bed while the rest of us were brushing our teeth, and I can hear her breathing deeply in the crib on the other side of the room. I'm surprised when it's Dad who comes in instead of Mom. She loves doing the bedtime routine. Dad kisses my head and whispers, "Sleep tight, Afton. You'll be a year older when you wake up in the morning. I think you'll love being 7. I respond just as quietly, "Do you remember being 7? "Definitely. Would you like to hear a story from my 7th year of life?" "Yes, please," I say as I snuggle into my sheets, pulling them up to my chin. He takes a breath and begins. "As you know, I grew up on the farm where Grandma and Grandpa still live. We always had lots of different animals, big and small. We had dogs, cats, lambs, chickens, horses, and of course the cows that Grandpa buys and sells every year. When I was 7, they decided to add a goat to the mix. Occasionally, we'd get a lamb whose mom couldn't feed it for whatever reason, called a bum lamb. They would milk the goat and give the milk to the bum lambs in a bottle. This goat was gray, with some white stripes on its head that circled around its eyes. Its coat was coarse and its eyes were black, and it had long, thin, floppy ears. We kept it in a pen behind the garage, next to the tree you kids like to climb when we visit the farm. This goat was so gentle and kind to everyone except me. For some reason, that goat, which we affectionately named Smelly Nelly, did not like me at all. It would bite at my clothes, kick at me, and if I got close enough, headbutt me. Everyone in the family just loved this sweet goat, but it was my first and forever enemy. I was grinning as I tried to imagine a 7-year-old version of my dad being bullied by a goat. He continued. Later that same year, Smelly Nelly had a kid, a boy, and he liked me about as much as his mom did. As you can imagine, when it was my turn to feed the goats, I was in and out of the pen as fast as my 7-year-old legs could carry me. I'm laughing silently, and it is making my belly ache, but in a good way. As Dad stands up to leave, I whisper, "Hey, Dad, you should tell Tyson that story too." He turns to me as he is closing the door and gives me a thumbs up. A few minutes later, as I'm starting to drift off to sleep, I hear Tyson's laughter through the wall. Chapter 8. I wake up to a faint pink light coming in through the sheer pink curtains on my window. I blink as I clear my mind and try to remember what day it is. I slept in, so it must be Saturday. I sit up quickly and throw off my sheets. It's my birthday! I peek into the crib and see that Olivia is gone. Mom must have snuck in for her earlier. I smile, stretch, and then head out of my room. An amazing smell hits me when I reach the top of the stairs. There is no questioning what it is. Cinnamon rolls. Everyone's favorite breakfast. As soon as I walk into the kitchen, everyone says, "Happy birthday, Afton!" Tyson gets up and gives me a big birthday hug. I squeeze him back and say, "Happy birthday, Tyson!" The timer goes off and Mom goes to get the cinnamon rolls. A big bowl of cream cheese frosting is already made and sitting on the counter. "We were just about to come wake you up, Afton. I'm glad you came down. And not just because it's breakfast time," Mom says with a sideways glance at Dad. "That's right," Dad adds. "We have a birthday surprise for you two, and since the cinnamon rolls need to cool before we can frost them, I think now is a good time. What do you think?" He looks at Mom, who has a relieved look on her face. "Yes, please. I don't know how much longer I can keep this a secret." "What is it?" Tyson asks, jumping back out of his chair. John is on his feet too, eager to see. "Come this way," Mom says, walking into the laundry room that leads to the garage. Once we are all squished into the small room, Mom stops before opening the door. Okay, I have some explaining to do about some of the odd things that happened yesterday, but I think that it would just be easier to show you. She puts her hand on the door handle and slowly pulls it open towards her. Chapter 9. It takes a minute for my eyes to adjust to the darker lighting in the garage, but when they do, I can see what looks like a small metal playpen. Inside the playpen is a small animal crate with the door open. There's an old baby blanket spilling out of it. Mom puts a finger to her lips, opens the metal gate, and motions for us to come and look in the crate. My body is buzzing with excitement as I kneel down and look inside. I don't see anything at first, just the blanket bunched up in the corner. But as I continue looking in the crate, baby Olivia suddenly lets out a loud squeal, and that woke the crate dweller. First, there was a tiny black nose. Then slowly a little head poked out. The head was quickly followed by a small body and 4 little legs and paws. A puppy! It ran out of the crate and straight into Tyson's arms. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Brown eyes, silky brown and white fur, and a little pink tongue licking Tyson's fingers. I turned to Mom, still slightly shocked, and asked, "A puppy? For us?" "Happy birthday," she replies with a side hug. She continues to hold me while we watch the puppy jump off Tyson's lap and start sniffing at John's toes. I leave Mom to struggle with Olivia, who is wiggling to get down and scoop the puppy up. It snuggles right in and rests its head on my arm with a tiny puppy sigh. As if this is some sort of signal, everyone starts asking questions at once. Is it a boy or a girl? What kind of dog? How long have you had it? What does it eat? Can I take it on a walk? Can it sleep in my room? Mom sets Olivia down and throws up her hands. Okay, one at a time. We all turn towards Mom while Dad walks up beside her and puts his arm around her shoulders. He says, "Mom picked her up on Friday morning when you guys left for school. She will sleep in the laundry room for now. Everyone will get to help with taking care of her, including taking her on walks, getting her food, and scooping poop. She eats dog food. The bag is over there." He points next to the door going back into the house. "And she's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel." "King?" Tyson says excitedly. "That's perfect. She already fits in the family. It's like it was always meant to be." We all laugh and nod. "Hang on. That's why you weren't parking in the garage. She was in here," John says. "Yes, and the reason I was playing my music so loud," Mom said. "And why we were laughing so awkwardly loud at dinner last night," Dad adds. A light bulb goes off in my head. "My book," I say. "John thought it was Olivia, but it was the puppy, wasn't it?" "Yes," Mom said with a shake of her head. I was a little overwhelmed for the first part of the day, trying to keep track of the puppy and baby Olivia. I'm afraid she got away from me and chewed the book when I wasn't looking. I'll call the library and pay for the damages. And another thing." She pauses. "She's also the one that dug up your daffodils." Oh. In all the excitement of my birthday and my puppy, I'd forgotten about my missing flowers. Mom continued. "I took the puppy outside for a bathroom break Friday afternoon, and she ran straight to the flowers while Olivia ran in the opposite direction toward the road. I, of course, went to grab Olivia to keep her safe. When I came back, the damage was done. Her paw prints were all over, so I stomped them out with my foot so it wouldn't ruin the surprise. That's why you saw all those footprints on the ground. I'm so sorry, honey." "You know what? It's okay. I can always grow more daffodils next year, and this is the best birthday surprise ever. Thanks, Mom and Dad." "Wait a second," John says. "What is her name? We can't just keep calling her the puppy forever." "You're right," Dad says. "She didn't come with a name, so it's up to the birthday kids to name her." Tyson and I look at each other. "I think I know the perfect name," I say with a grin. Chapter 10. Afton! I hear from somewhere behind me. I look around to see who's calling my name. I spot Annie jumping off the edge of the bounce house and coming toward me. While she approaches, I take a minute to admire the birthday party around me. Friends and neighbors are everywhere. There are balloons, streamers, a big happy birthday sign, a table for cupcakes, and a table piled with presents. All the kids are almost completely exhausted from bouncing, climbing, and sliding on the bounce house obstacle course that Mom and Dad rented for the party. "This is so much fun," Annie says, pulling me into a hug. "Thanks." I squeeze tight before letting go. It's so great to have everyone here. "When do we get to meet your new puppy?" she asks. "Hopefully soon." Puppies sleep 18 to 20 hours a day. I'm sure Mom will bring her out soon. She's been sleeping in her crate in the laundry room for most of the morning. You'll love her. She's so cute and small. "I can't wait," Annie says as she runs back to the bounce house for another run through the obstacle course. Sometimes people ask me if it bothers me that I have to share my birthday with Tyson every year. The honest answer is no. And not just because I don't know anything different. We've celebrated our birthdays together since day one. I don't mind because Tyson is an awesome brother. We may not get along perfectly all the time, but when it really counts, I know he will always have my back, and I'll have his. Plus, our party always has double cakes or cupcakes, so everyone wins. Mom comes out of the house with a puppy in one arm and a baby in the other. Olivia is leaning across Mom, trying to grab the puppy's ears. Mom sets the puppy down quickly, and Tyson runs towards her, bending at the waist, saying, "Come here, Daffy Daffy. Come here, girl." "Daffy?" I say quietly to myself, shaking my head as I walk over to where he's picked the puppy up. All of our friends are gathered around to meet the new addition to our family. Once I get close enough to Tyson, I skeptically say, "Daffy?" "Yeah, the name you gave her is too long, and I think it fits." He hands the puppy to me and follows some friends to the table where Mom is starting to hand out cupcakes and ice cream. I pet our puppy's soft, silky fur, then lean down and whisper in her ear, "They can call you whatever they want, but to me, you will always be my perfect little daffodil." We hope you enjoyed this production of The King Kids and the Disappearing Daffodils, written by Sheree Elaine and narrated by Cindy Gunderson. Continue the story with The King Kids and the Tossed Tooth. Copyright 2023, Sheree Elaine.